So the idea of chance, moments that happen, magic moments that just magic moments that suddenly appear in our lives out of absolutely nowhere. And I think throughout the day we've heard so many different stories today that just capture the idea of, really these magic moments happening so randomly and creating such massive impact in our lives. Serendipity is the idea of unplanned, fortunate discovery of moments, the occurrence and development of events that just create something really happy and something really powerful. I'm going to talk about my journey of my life in the last 10 years of Quidditch and how certain chance moments have created such incredible impact in my journey of innovation and creation. Funnily, this whole story starts even before my birth. I have the good fortune of my father sitting in the audience, who had done his CA, very joyful, very fun person. And one day he's just driving his car back home and decides to give a lift to a random person on the street. There was somebody just asking for a lift, very well-dressed guy. So he stops, says, "Why don't you come on?" and decides to drop him home. And on this journey that my father is dropping this random gentleman on the street home, they have some very interesting conversations. And this leads to an offer that this gentleman gives to my father to say, "Hey, why don't you come and join my company and start some filming tomorrow?" My father goes the next day. He's not just found himself a new job from this random moment of encounter. He also finds a new boss. That boss happens to be still sitting with him right next to him, my mother. His first boss happens to be his boss for life. If there was no Uber at the time, there was no Uber at the time. Had there been Uber, definitely that customer would have got a 5-star rating. But this moment that happened ages ago, what was this? Was this luck? Was this chance? Or is there a design to this madness? Is what I started exploring myself. Because when I look back at my life, there have been so many moments that define this for me. And I'm like, there has to be some logic behind all of this. This was the moment that they both got together, and hence I am standing here, because if this moment had not happened of this random car journey, I would have not been here. But coming to my life and the luck and the chance that I've experienced, I decided to go and study film. I'd always wanted to be a filmmaker, and I was very excited that, be this creative person who's going to create, these big films. So I go to London and I'm studying my filmmaking. And when my filmmaking got over and I worked a little bit in the film industry over there, I was coming back from London, and randomly my guitar teacher from school, from when I was in India, reached out to me and said, "Hey, you're coming back to India. Do you think you can direct a music video for us?" I've never directed a music video before. I'm just out of college, 22 years old. I'm like, yeah, this is a very interesting opportunity. Let's see what happens. No idea how this work is done, but I'd studied film. I know how to operate a camera. I was good at editing. I was like, I'll figure this whole thing out. Suddenly I say, okay, we're going to shoot this music video. These guys come over to London in my last week of my time there, and we shoot this music video. And the next thing I know, I've come back to India, and all of these Punjabi artists in Delhi, which is where I was, were like, "Oh, this guy has come from London. He knows how to make music videos." And the next thing I know, I'm directing 1 full year of music videos. And I'm like, this is so random. Never planned, but very, very powerful experience of 1 year. The last music video I was shooting, I had a Audi R8, beautiful expressway in Noida, and I was like, looking at it like this from a low angle is not giving you can see all of the kachra around, and how do we get something that's a little more, impactful? So I wanted this shot from above. And I started researching, and again, by chance, just at that time, there was a new drone that had come out called the DJI Phantom 1. And I was like, I want to get this angle from up above. So there was this car that we shot. We went and shot this from an angle, and that's how I got introduced to drones. I'm telling you all of these random stories that are happening in life. And what's very interesting is that looking backwards, they start making sense. But at that time, it's very hard to see what's going on. I get to the place called the Young India Fellowship. I decide I'm like, music videos is not my thing. I want to take a break. I want to really discover myself, find myself a little bit more. And I go into the Young India Fellowship. absolutely by chance, complete randomness, I have a roommate somebody decided that he's going to be my roommate. And he somehow convinces me that, hey, you had bought this drone. Why don't we do a business? I'm like, I'm a filmmaker, like, I don't get business, I don't want to do all of this business stuff. He's like, no, there's 9 months in this course. Let's give it a shot. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, we go back to what we were doing. I was like, that makes sense. So just by absolute chance, I'm now with a roommate who now says, let's do this. And we decided to start a company called Quidditch. We bring in drones and we start doing this crazy filming with drones. We're flying it all over the place. There was no regulations. This is 2013. We're having the best time of our life. Just by chance, it happens to be 2014, and there are the elections happening in the country. And there was this bus that in the India Today group was sending out to be able to cover the elections. So we said, hey, it'll be really cool to shoot this bus from the drone. So we went and pitched this idea. It was supposed to be a one-day shoot, but they saw the shots and they're like, oh, this is incredible. Can we see more? So we shot it for 3 more days. Turns out that we were now traveling with Rahul Kanwal and the whole India Today team for 45 days covering the entire elections. And this told us, hey, okay, so this has worked out so far. Drones are making sense. There's somebody who's willing to pay for this. Let's have some fun with this. So we decided, our course got over, we were like, okay, let's build this into a business. We still didn't have a very clear idea of where it was going to go. But we just knew that together, as a group of people that we had, 2, 3 of us at the time, we were like, we can really create something interesting. So let's keep going at it, let's keep going at it. And we kept building on this idea of chance. We then entered into Bollywood. We went to Mumbai and we were like, hey, we've always seen chopper shots at the beginning of this film. It adds so much production value. Can we use drones to be able to replace this? Drones internationally had already started getting used. And suddenly, we started connecting our dots back to the film industry, back to where I was really excited to be. We got the opportunity to shoot the opening shot of Sanju. The drone flies from the start, goes all the way to the building in front. It was a really powerful moment for me. Very, very chance-driven. Drones, filmmaking, all coming together where we end up, covering some of the biggest films in Bollywood. We shot with our drones, Brahmastra, Gully Boy, Sanju, and all of these films. And I was at the best moment of my life. I was like, bus, this is done. Like, I have now reached a point where all of these moments have reached a point where, we've been able to do all of these big films. Very, very exciting time in life. But chance had to happen again. There was a newspaper article that came out which had an ad for something that the BCCI was talking about. Some tender that had come out, and it had an email address that said broadcast@bcci.tv. My co-founder decides to write an email to this email address saying, hey, we've got this drone, and he's a massive sports lover. He's been watching cricket since childhood. He was a race car driver, so he was just like, we want to try and do something. So a random cold email in 2015 goes to this email address saying that, hey, if we are able to bring drones into sport, you will suddenly have a moment where you can now see the stadium in the context of the city. Because from inside, a lot of you, I'm guessing, watch cricket. How many of you in the audience watch cricket? Yeah, now we have engagement. Lovely. So we suddenly realized that from inside the stadium, you don't get to see as much of what's happening outside. All the stadiums look almost the same from inside, but the moment you bring a drone into the aspect, you suddenly have the whole context of the stadium and the city. And the next thing we know, we're now, after 2 years of demos and experiments, this random email that was sent out gets us to a position where we're now shooting the IPL. So all of the drone shots suddenly are now being built with that. This process of randomness continues, and we start going deeper and deeper into understanding what we can add to the idea of sport and storytelling. And we continue to build more and more technology. So we had the drones, we started building augmented reality. So you can now, all of the toss that you see at the beginning of the game, the fireworks at the end, all of that got built through this journey. The buggy camera, the remote control car that goes around, giving you these really nice low angle shots, suddenly brought a whole different dimension into what was then a drone, completely a drone company. Now we had a new tool that we were using. very, very interesting moments on the field with this piece of technology. And as we kept going deeper and deeper into understanding this, moments like this just kept happening. There was a moment that we were talking about with a director who said that, hey, when we try and show the fielding on cricket, there is one camera too that just looks from left to right. And it's a very long shot. And the viewers just don't get to understand where the fielding is. They're trying to talk about the fielding, but we just don't get it. That one moment of a conversation, our team was able to capture, and we're like, hey, this is a problem we can solve. We suddenly took our entire direction of the company, and we started building AI solutions. So we put a camera up onto the floodlight, and now suddenly we were using AI to track the players. So what you see on the bottom left of your screen in pretty much now most cricket broadcast is a technology that got built out of this conversation that said, hey, we can't see where the players are. So now, most of the time, you can see distances between players, gaps between players, and so on. And we kept pushing this idea forward, and we now were able to create entire virtual replication. So now what you see from inside the batter's view, the helmet view, the ball trajectories, and so on. A lot of technology kept getting built, and me, who was a filmmaker with no idea where it was going, all of these random moments kind of kept pushing it forward into something new, something new, something new. And I think what I want you guys to think about is how can you make luck work for you? Because when I look at this journey and I really think about it, I'm like, is it just a combination of random luck that just kept happening? Or is there a way that you can actually design for it? So when you look back, it's a lot easier to connect the dots. But I want you to start thinking of how can you start creating these dots moving forward? How do you put your intention out there and start creating this idea of manifestation, that there is something that I believe, I want to go out of space. And then you start finding moments of opportunity that just come to you. And the only agency that you have is to be able to make some sense of that moment. Seize that opportunity when it comes, because these moments come for everybody. I truly believe that luck is equally distributed across the world, and all we have as agency is to be able to make something of that moment. So it's really not about random luck. It's being completely open to the unexpected. Had we gone with a complete strategy and a plan of this is what the business should be and this is how the 5-year vision of the company will be, we probably wouldn't have been able to create all the breakthroughs in technology that you see today. So look around you, talk to strangers, share your ideas, because we feel very, that we don't want to talk to people because, oh, my idea will get stolen. But the only way that you start creating this manifestation, you start creating these moments, is by talking about it. I'm going to leave you with one last story that happened most recently, where I decided to flip the equation and see if you can actually make luck work for you. They spoke about the ICC Immersive app, which was the first time virtual reality cricket was possible during this last World Cup. This was something that I was really excited about, and I'd written a lot about over the last few years. And I was like, I've got to take that first step of manifestation and that first step of luck to try and make this work. So I took a flight. I was going to Vegas for a conference, and I was like, okay, Apple is based in the US. Let me just go to San Francisco and see if I can meet these guys. So now I'm in San Francisco. I've booked my flight, and now I write out to everybody. I'm like, I want a meeting with Apple. Just by chance, somebody connects the dots, and I'm able to get 2 really good meetings. I have a 2-hour meeting with this gentleman, out of which only 10 minutes we spoke about business. The rest of the time we were talking about all kinds of other things. I felt a little uncomfortable with the idea. A week later, I get a call from him saying, Rahat, we discussed for so long, but we didn't talk much work. But I must tell you, you spoke a lot about the idea of serendipity. I was like, yes. He's like, I think it's happening. I was like, what do you mean? He says, just by chance, I got a call from the ICC this morning, and they're wanting to do something on the Vision Pro. And I told them immediately, there's only one company in the world that can do it. It's Quidditch in India. So suddenly there was a moment that was created of all of this chance, where the ICC had called Apple, and Apple recommended it to us. And I truly now start to believe that there is the opportunity to be able to start creating these moments. So start thinking about what you really desire. The idea that we heard earlier today of you can do anything you want. If you want to be a filmmaker, you want to be whoever you want to be, create that future plan and then start finding these moments of serendipity, these moments of chance that really give you that push and that trigger that you need to be able to get to that point. Start creating your dots today. Thank you.